Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, this is Lunar M coming in with the second episode of How to Duel. In this episode, I'm going to be teaching you about monsters. I'm going to tell you how to summon monsters, what monsters are, what all types of monsters there are, what the monster looks like, how it's laid out. So, by the end of this, you should know quite a bit about monsters. Now, if you find you need any more help with it, you can let me know via DN, Dueling Network. I am on there most often. I'm there as Double Star Unknown Double Star. I'm also there as SBDA Dreadroot. I can be there as Lunar, Solter, Lunar M. Any of those work. Also, I'm on Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Maker under the name Star Unknown Star. I'm also here on YouTube, and I'm also on Yu-Gi-Oh! Dawn of a New Era under the name Double Star Unknown Double Star. So, if you need anything, just let me know. So, let's get started with monsters and summoning. This is the second part. This is the second episode. Now, there are several types of monsters. You've got your normal monsters like Red Eyes Black Dragon, your effect monsters like Jinzo, your fusion monsters like the Black Skull Dragon, your ritual monsters like Relinquished, your synchro monsters like Black Rose Dragon, your Ixie monsters like Volcasaurus, number 61 Volcasaurus, and then your pendulum monsters, rather pendulum cards, like the Time Gazer Magician. Let's take a look at what a monster looks like a little up close and figure out what part is what. Here I have Cliffort Shell. Alright. Now, there's a lot going on with this card, so let me break it down for you. Right here, that's its name. Alright, there are parts within names that are called archetypes. Archetypes are a series of cards that go together. Like, for instance, this right here. QLI. That's QLI. Like Cliffort Shell. Alright, there are effects that will affect cards with that particular type of name. Now you've got your attribute. There are several different attributes. You've got earth, water, fire, air, not air, wind. You've got light, dark, and you've got divine. Particular card effects will affect particular attributes. Now here you've got your card image. This is the fun thing that you get to look at to see what the monster looks like. That's all there is to it. Right here you've got your your pendulum scales. I'll go into a little bit more detail later in the episode about the pendulum scales, but this only needs to be worried about if your monster's in a pendulum zone. Also, the only thing needs to be worried about, the only other area that you need to worry about when it's in a pendulum zone is that what I've just boxed in is its pendulum effect. Alright? This only occurs, this only activates, this only works if your monster, if your Cliffort Shell in this scenario is in a pendulum zone. Now, here you've got the type line. Right there. There are three different types. The primary type is machine. Secondary type is pendulum, and tertiary type is effect. Right here, you've got the effect. This effect is when the monster is in a monster card zone as a monster. Alright, you've got right here your set ID. Here you've got your original attack, and then right here is your original defense. This is the card edition. Sometime, and the older cards, it would have been closer to right about there. You've got your serial code for it, and then copyright information. So that's the layout of a monster. Let's take a look at summoning monsters. The most important type of summon is the normal summon. You can only do one normal summon per turn unless the card states otherwise. A big, huge, tremendously massive rule of thumb: if a card says something that contradicts the gameplay mechanics, go with what the card says. The card in any type of TCG, any type of trading card game, it's going to be right. Alright. Now, if you look at the Celtic Guardian, he's got 4 stars. That means he's a level 4 monster. If you look at Karibo, he's got 1 star. That puts him at level 1. There is a range for normal summoning without tributing, which I will explain in just a little bit. This is a level 1. This is a level 4. You can normal summon level 1 monsters to level 4 monsters without tributes. Now, please bear in mind the highest level a monster can get is level 12. Lowest level a monster can get is level 1. So keep that range in mind. Alright, so these I can summon without any tributes. Now, let's move on to the subtype of normal summon: tribute summoning. You can normal summon face up attack position, or you can normal set and face down defense position. You cannot normal summon and face up defense position. That does not work ever, and there's no arguing that. This has not been a rule for the past 13 years. Alright, now, let's take a look at the level for the Dark Magician Girl. She's got 6 stars. And then the Dark Magician, he's got 7. Alright, anything level 5, L5, to level 6 requires 1 tribute. Alright? A tribute is a monster is being sent from your field to the graveyard. It's not destroyed. It's just sent. It's tributed. It's sent to the graveyard, and that monster takes its place. Alright? Now, level 7 and higher requires 2 tributes. So to normal summon the Dark Magician, you would have to send 2 monsters you already control, both to the graveyard, and then he's summoned, or set. Alright? Remember, you can only do 1 normal summon per turn, and a tribute summon is considered a normal summon. Alright. Keep in mind, there are monsters that will say, hey, you can normal summon this with no tributes, but it's always got a drawback. Alright? So that's tribute summoning. You send 1 monster or 2 monsters, and for some cards it's 3 monsters. You send that number of monsters to the graveyard to summon it. Now there is one exception. There is one exception to the graveyard thing. And that's pendulums. A pendulum card that is sent from the field to the graveyard is actually sent to the top of the extra deck face up. That will come into play during pendulum summoning. Alright, let's move on to the next type. Special summoning. You can do as many special summons per turn as you want, so long as you can fulfill the proper conditions. For example, Marauding Captain. When he's normal summoned, thus the importance of the normal summon, you can special summon any level 4 or lower monster from your hand. That means that monster has to have 4 stars or less. Alright? And then the tricky, if you just discard 1 card, you can special summon them to the field. Special summons can, I repeat, they can occur in face-up defense position. Only normal summons cannot occur in face-up defense position. And when you summon a monster, during that turn, That monster's battle position cannot be changed. You can't switch it from attack mode to defense mode or defense mode to attack mode, except by a card effect. Alright? So there are several different types of special summoning, several different subcategories. So let's take a look at them. First one is the fusion summon. Alright? Fusion summons. Typically they revolve around the card called Polymerization. This card right here. Okay? They take 2, 3, 4, 5 different monsters, sometimes the same monster, as you can see here. 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. They take a few monsters, smush them together, and create, most of the time, a behemoth. Okay? These cards for Polymerization come from your hand or your side of the field, unless the card states otherwise. There are other different fusion cards, like Miracle Fusion, that only works with elemental heroes. You've got your Shadal Fusion and El Shadal Fusion, which only works with the Shadals. You've got Pyrazine Fusion, which only works with Gem Knights. Okay, so basically, in this scenario, 3 Blue Eyes equals 1 Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. You have to have Polymerization. You cannot fusion summon without the fusion card unless the card states otherwise. Remember, if the card states otherwise, the card always is right. And if you have problems with what the card's intended to do, what it's supposed to do, just find someone who knows what they're doing and ask them. And if they don't know, they will ask someone who does. 9 times out of 10, the other person will know. So don't hesitate to ask questions. Next up, you've got Ritual Summoning. Ritual Summoning. Okay. Ritual Summoning requires specific spell cards. You can tell based on this little symbol right here. You can see it a little bit more clearly here. That is the sign that it's a ritual spell card. Blackluster Ritual will not summon anything aside from Blackluster Soldier. And Black Magic Ritual, which used to be called Dark Magic Ritual, will not special summon anything that is not Magician of Black Chaos. Please keep this in mind. Alright? With Ritual Summoning, not only do you have to activate the card, but you also have to tribute monsters from your side of the field or your hand. That comes up to the monster's level or higher. Okay? So for Blackluster Soldier, it would be 8. For Magician of Black Chaos, it would be 8. Remember that one card, Relinquished? Relinquished was a level 1, so you'd have to tribute one monster. Any monster. Alright, there are generic ritual spell cards, like Contract with Darkness, I think it was called, that you can use it for any ritual of a particular attribute. There are a few others, but most of the time it requires specific ones. Alright, that's the Ritual Summon. Next up, we have the Synchro Summon. Alright, this was the first truly gimmicky summon. It was released in 5Ds back several years ago. If you look, if you can... Alright, if you can see right here, alright, that's the Stardust Dragon. Right here is the requirements. 1 tuner, which is another new type of monster. It's just a subtype. You can tell if a tuner monster is a tuner because in the type line it will say tuner. It requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Tuners typically are low-leveled monsters. So for Stardust Dragon, you would need a tuner and then a non-tuner. That's minimum 2 monsters. Alright. The level of the tuner must plus the level of the non-tuner must equal the level of the synchro. Okay? It can't be that or and more. It has to be exactly equal. Alright? Synchro monsters, just like fusion monsters, reside in the extra deck. That's all there is to synchro summoning. One tuner, one or more non-tuner. So, the level of the tuner and the level of the non-tuner or non-tuners has to equal the level of the synchro monster. So I can't tune a level 3 to a level 6 and get Stardust Dragon because that's a 9 and Stardust Dragon is level 8. That's all there is to synchro summoning. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. My least favorite type of summon, because in my opinion, it's stupid, but it's also basically required in most of meta gameplay. Alright? So, it's the Ixie summoning. If you notice, let's go back one slide and look at this. Look at the alignment of the level stars. They are aligned to the right. Okay? Now, what do you see different about the Ixie monsters? Their stars are aligned to the left, and rather than being red and yellow, they are black and yellow. Okay? That's because Ixie monsters don't have levels. Ixie monsters, those stars, those are rank stars. Ranks are not the same thing as levels. Anything that decreases a level or modulates attack based on level, modulates defense based on level, it doesn't work on Ixie monsters. Now, if you look right here, it says 2 level 4 monsters. Well, hold up, what's that mean, you may ask? Well, you have to have 2 level 4 monsters on the field. You put one on top of the other, and then put the Ixie monster on top of that. Those 2 that you first overlaid for your number 39 Utopia or your number 62 Galaxy Edge Prime Photon Dragon, those are now called Ixie materials. And your Utopia's got an effect that detaches an Ixie material. So that's how that works. If you have any questions about Ixie summoning and the fun stuff you can do with it, just let me know. Now for the final type of summon. It's called the Pendulum Summon. This one I'm actually going to go most in detail with because it's actually the most complex type of summon. These are 2 examples of Pendulum monsters. Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon and Cliffort Scout. These are 2 of the most well-known of the Pendulum cards. Okay? So, with Pendulum Summoning, you have one, remember the Pendulum zones? You have one in the right zone, one in the left zone. If your right zone is a 4 and your left zone is a 9, you can special summon from your hand or face up in your extra deck any number of monsters whose levels are between that 4 and that 9. Okay? So, you got the 4 here, you got the 9 here. So, it's got to be greater than 4, less than 9. So, then, any monster in between, as long as it can be special summoned, it's summonable through Pendulum Summoning. So, let's get a little visual of it. It's a slight visual, kind of basic. Okay? So, we have... Alright. We have our pendulums. This is a rank 1, or this is a scale 1, and this is a scale 8. Okay? So, remember, 1, 8. Remember that little... Remember this. Okay, it has to be greater than 1, and then it has to be less than 8. Anything in the middle is put right here. Or right here, or right here, or right here. The heck? Or right here. From your extra deck, face up, or from your hand. Okay? If you go and watch Cliff Fort, remember that's QLIPHORT. If you go watch a Cliff Fort duel, you're gonna see a lot of it, along with Yosenju and Performapal. But that's the basics of pendulum summoning. That is summoning. You've seen monsters. You can determine their types, their levels, their names, their pendulum scales, their attack, their defense, their effect. You should be able to nail all that on the head. During the next episode, I'm going to get more in depth on effect types. All right. So if you'll join me next episode, you'll learn all about effect types and how to determine what kind of effect type the card is. So I'll see you next time. Hope you learned something from this, and I hope you continue to watch.